Chair recognizes the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Collins, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a district that has been very much affected by the discussions going on. I appreciate, Ms. Martinez, your comments. I take great offense at yours, Ms. Tomlin. I'm not sure why you were here today, except to bring forth the point of making Georgia, of which I was a part of that state legislature, and Arizona and others who attempted to deal with an issue in their state, who attempted to do so in a way that may or may not, to your opinion or to others, been right, and some part which was struck or put on hold by the courts, but the vast majority of the law was upheld. I think you're right, Ms. Martinez. To draw lines are not good, but to walk into here and to take account officers, to take account me personally or others in the legislature who honestly tried to work through these issues, maybe not to your satisfaction, but did so at the request of those who voted for us, the same ones who sent me here, is not a good thing. It is not helpful. Because as one who is trying to work through this in a very conservative district, one in which we struggle deeply with these issues, in which there is a large Hispanic presence that has made our district wonderful from a legal perspective and made a struggle from those who are there not legally. And these are issues that we have to deal with. But to simply categorize it in the way it came across, and I was watching, is not and will not be a helpful tool as we move forward, especially for those of us who are trying, through sometimes great difficulty, to find an answer for this. To us, others, from my gentleman from South Carolina and from Idaho and others across this table who have tried our best to look at this, to do so does not do any good. And especially from those, as I appreciate Ms. Martinez, those who are friends and family in law enforcement. My father was a state trooper for 31 years. And to see what he would go through and these others go through, knowing that in my county, Hall County, was one of the first 287G counties. I have also practiced defense work. And I have my issues, and they hold accountable. We hold each other accountable. But to simply say, the one argument that never came from me, from my sheriffs who I have great respect for, was that you were basically too dumb to enforce the law. It may be I disagree with you on how you made this stop or how you did this, but the fact that you were not bright enough to enforce it, no. And to have law school questions, I appreciate and I respect greatly my gentle lady from across the aisle from California. She can outrun me any day on most legal aspects. But that's a law school question. What these gentlemen all deal with is real side of the road kind of stuff. Mr. Crane, I want to focus a little bit on my issue in Georgia. Over 50 illegal aliens were released by ICE under the guise of sequestration. In March, I wrote to DHS and ICE and requested basic information about the releases. For example, I asked how many illegal aliens were released in Georgia and how many had criminal convictions. And what are the specific crimes committed by illegal aliens released in Georgia? To date, I've never got an answer. I'm an original co-sponsor of this legislation and strongly support the needs it fixes to our current law in conjunction with other aspects that we need to deal with immigration. Not just one, but a lot of others. However, as we provide for additional ICE detention officers and agents and prosecutors, shouldn't we also take steps to ensure that the national security and public safety goals of this bill aren't thwarted by what appears to be politically motivated releases of detained illegal aliens, including criminal aliens? Fran, I'd like to hear from you on your thoughts on the seriousness of this situation and what we can do to prevent it from occurring in the future.
Well, I think it's extremely serious. I think it's whether it's in Arizona or it's Georgia, when we're cutting people to the streets that are criminals, we're not letting law enforcement know about it. We're not letting them know why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, I think it's extremely dangerous, and I think there's definitely, I can tell you as an officer, those things never needed to happen. Sequestration or no sequestration, we have ways of trimming our numbers back without making mass releases like that. So it's completely unacceptable. It's a public safety threat. Everyone up at DHS should be held accountable for it. Senator McCain himself from the Gang of Eight said, you know, Secretary Napolitano is responsible here. Somebody needs to be disciplined for that, and I agree. The things that we have to do is we have to cut back whenever possible on the discretion of political appointees, being the Secretary of DHS or the Director of ICE. We have to cut back on their discretion. Congress has to codify this. They have to put it in writing how these folks are going to behave.
Well, I think that is something that we've got to look at. And as my time goes out on this, I just want to say, is someone looking for an answer here? Let's deal with answers. Let's don't deal with disparaging comments. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Thank the gentleman.
Mr. Chairman.